A lot of Leaf fans would say this trade deadline was balls.
What else would they say?
They'd say, listen, we could have got something done had we had a closer shave. Shave down our trim our prospect pool to amp up our look.
That didn't work.
No?
Didn't work.
Well, listen, we just want to let you know that Manscaped this year have the Lawnmower 5.0. 5.0.
Okay, that I get.
It is refined, it is awesome, and we can give you a nice little discount. Just use the promo code DANGLE for 20% off and free shipping. 20% off and free shipping.
I shouldn't have yelled over you.
No, you shouldn't. That's the whole point. We're selling that part. That's the part that we want people to understand. Dangle, 20% off, free shipping, Manscaped. We want your confidence to shine bright.
There you go. Yeah.
Shine bright like a diamond shaped ball.
Rihanna.
Right? Am I right?
Shine bright.
Tonight.
2 balls.
Let's start the show, baby. Woo!
You and
SDP VIP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
We've been going at it all day, just as everybody else has, but this is our trade deadline official recap episode. Steve Dangle with a brand new baby at home, the most important acquisition this week. Still, we have a lot to
no
get
salary
through.
retained.
No salary retained, which is great. Now, I want to say this. There were a lot of moves this deadline. And, you know, there were some really big heavy hitter moves, but not the same as last year. Didn't feel like it had the same zing as last year. Thomas Hertl, obviously, big move. Jake Gensel, late last night, another big move. But ultimately, I'm not sure that this deadline, and I think we were warned about this by CJ, had the same star power that perhaps we wanted.
Same star power, no, but to say it's going to be a quiet trade deadline, it was the opposite of quiet.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't quiet. And basically every team in the hunt added. Every team rebuilding did. I didn't see the Blackhawks do anything, I don't think.
No,
But
they didn't really have much to sell.
No, but basically everyone was in on the action. At the time we're recording this, the Anaheim Ducks just tweeted a picture of Frank Vetrano, who we realized after the deadline, we're like, oh, he wasn't traded, but they don't have to. They could just re-sign him. And when they tweeted that picture, like I'm almost positive by the end of the show, they're going to have some sort of announcement.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
man. Like
All right.
everyone got in on the action. The Jets added, the Oilers added, the Canucks added over the course of the last month and a bit. The Habs sold. The Leafs were fairly disappointing. We'll talk about that. The Calgary Flames were also very busy. It was not a boring deadline. I wish there were bigger names. Gensel moved, man. That's big. Sean Walker was big. Bowen Byram for Casey Middlestat was like completely not talked about, not projected. Featured 2 pretty big names. Byram is shocking.
Yeah. Ryan Johansson has been traded and then sent down. He's now with Lehigh Valley, I guess.
Yes.
You're right. You know what? Maybe it's just I'm too close to the picture to see the full paint.
Yeah. Hertl came out of nowhere.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jeez, we buried the lead on that one.
Yeah,
I did mention
The
it.
thing that you did? Yeah, I got in there. The thing that didn't happen was the names that were kind of not. They were on the trade boards, but we didn't really expect them. If they happened, they'd be like absolute shockers. Like you had Zegras on some trade boards.
Yeah.
You had some of some bigger names out there, and they didn't go. You know?
Yes. Yep. Now, here's the thing.
Throwing UC Soros in there, you know, those kind of names.
Yeah.
And he wasn't going to move because Nashville went on a heater, right? So here's what I want to ask you guys. Let's start with Vegas. Over the last week, it's Anthony Mantha, it's Noah Hannafin, and it's Tomas Hertl.
And who did they lose?
That's exactly it. Edstrom?
Unbelievable. Yeah, he's not on the roster though. So like, who gives a damn?
Yeah, no.
The I don't even remember his name. It started with an M. I think he ended up in Calgary in the Hannafin deal. That's the only guy who's played games for them.
And I think what's interesting, though, is Vegas is currently, and this is wild to say because they are the defending Stanley Cup champions, they're in the second wild card spot. If any team was going to lose the playoff spot right now, it would be Vegas. However, there's no team really close enough to take it from them. And we do expect that they won't be going 2-7-1 every 10 games here on out, even though that's what they've been in the last 10. These injections of talent into the lineup, coupled with the fact that guys like Jack Eichel are coming back, their defense is relatively healthy. What do the Vegas Golden Knights look like in the last 20 games of this season, guys?
They're going to get a bunch of different looks, that's for sure. And I think they're also, time is very funny. Mm-hmm. You know, we were talking about them like they were this unbeatable juggernaut. They've gone on a bit of a dip. They added Mantha, but I don't think anyone was like, ooh, they got Anthony Mantha now. They're friggin' loading up. And now today we're looking at them as unbeatable, and they're going to repeat, and the league is going to investigate them, and it's going to be this ridiculous thing. What I think happens over the next couple months, not even couple months, a little less than that, is they're fine. They're fine. They get some good performances out of some people. They win some games. They lose some games. They make the playoffs, maybe not in that convincing of a fashion. Game 1 of the playoffs arrive, everyone starts, and they kill everyone.
Yeah.
I think that's what we can expect from the next little bit.
It's a fascinating thing because we hear from GMs all the time. We especially hear this in Toronto. So, if you're listening to the show for the very first time, let's say it's the first time you've heard any of our voices, a lot of what we hear in Toronto is, oh, the Leafs just don't have the assets. Oh, the Leafs simply don't have the cap space. The reality is, Vegas figures it out. Another team that always figures it out at the deadline, and they made minor moves today, but still ones that I think are important, especially considering the Leafs are going to play them, is Boston. There are teams that seem to get it and figure it out. What the Tampa Bay Lightning paid for Matt Dumba, which is essentially a pick swap and taking his salary. There's like
no
it's a
essentially
fifth
about it. That's what it is. It's a pick swap. Dick all.
It's crazy.
Dick all.
Now, this was obviously a buyer's market for sure, and we'll talk about the Leafs in a second, but there were teams that truly benefited from it. And obviously Vegas with the hurdle retention and all that stuff is cool. But I do want to talk about some of these Eastern Conference teams because you look at Matt Dumba. You said it when we did our Matt Dumba breakdown video. By the way, we have a whole bunch of breakdowns in every single trade.
24 videos.
Matt Dumba, guys, if he didn't play a game for the Tampa Bay Lightning,
gives a damn. They moved down 60 spots in from the 5th round. Who I as someone who gets worked up for a living, I can't even. It doesn't register in my heart or lungs or brain. You
can't pretend to care.
I can't even. That's barely an aw shucks. That's barely a.
And you could argue that they like improve the pick because it happens 2 years earlier. So they traded the 2025 7th, or they got back a 2025 7th, and they moved out a 2027 5th. So like if whatever player they drafted is good, they're getting that person 2 years earlier. So
you're talking about a 7th that's going to be near the beginning of the 7th round, and the 5th's a bit of a wild card.
Yeah.
Again, we've already spent. How long have we been on this? For a minute? We've spent 45 seconds too much time.
Yeah, I think it happening 2 years earlier is pretty significant. Like it means you did essentially nothing and just got Dumba for the salary because Arizona doesn't want to pay anybody money.
With Vegas, I hate to use Vegas cliches for them, but they're playing with house money. Mm-hmm. They've done this before, obviously, when they fleeced absolutely everyone and made it to the Stanley Cup final in their first season. They just won the cup. They just won it, and absolutely no one will be like, stop! That's too much! Don't go for it! Like everyone, we were talking about this just before we started recording. The Vegas Golden Knights behave like Vegas, the city.
Yeah. You're
like,
here for 4 nights and you better win.
I don't remember who tweeted it, but it's like they play they treat every day, every game, every trade deadline, every draft like there's a comet hurtling towards Earth that's going to hit next week. Like they just want to pull out all the stops and win. And, we talked about whenever this bottoms out, they're going to be terrible. When the hell's that?
And who cares if you've won cups?
It's not even just acquiring guys. It's their ability to acquire guys and keep them. I think they're going to extend. Hurdle.
Hurdle's there forever.
They just got a division rival to retain on him for 6 years.
And he's a center.
And he's a center wing. And I think they're going to be able to extend Hannafin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they didn't get him.
Because Alec Martinez is going to be up, and there's the money right there.
The one that's going to hurt is Jonathan Marchessault makes $5 million, and my bet is
he gets Riley Smith
elsewhere.
He's the last.
No, he's a UFA, so he won't get any.
But he is the last of the original Golden Knights.
And
actually, William Karlsson will be.
Oh, that's right.
But still,
No, Braden McNabb's there.
Is he there?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Braden McNabb's.
There's not a lot.
Not a lot.
William
not a lot.
Carrier.
Is he an original?
Yeah, he's an expansion.
Oh, yeah.
From Nashville, right? He played in Nashville before? I forget where
I
he was.
forget.
It's either
but
the Nashville.
They got a couple
Buffalo
guys.
guy.
They got a couple.
Okay, all right. Maybe it wasn't the but Marchessault was a major part of their first run of the Cup, right?
Oh yeah.
And has been a major
Oh, yeah.
part ever since. I think what I respect the heck out of with Vegas, and one of the things that we heard in Toronto a lot under the Dubas era, which is commendable but also antithetical to winning in sports, which is, well, we did right by the player. A name that came up in this deadline, which was hilarious, is Alex Barabanov, a former Leaf who the Leafs signed out of the KHL, who they traded to the Sharks because they couldn't find a spot for the lineup to do right by the player.
For who? Ansi Suomela.
Oh.
Adam, how didn't you remember that?
Man, what memories we have, Ansi and I. I'm antsy just thinking about them.
And my least favorite one of those was Travis Dermott when they moved him, because they could have just kept Travis Dermott as like an extra defenseman, and they had so many defenseman injuries that they could have just had him, and
Yeah,
it would have been useful.
Yeah, but look at this year's prices. They got a third for Travis Dermott.
Yeah, but it would have been nice to have a defenseman.
I want to throw this
I'm
out
not going
there
to limit that one. I can't.
I want to throw this out there for people that are paying attention with the Golden Knights. They still have their first round pick this year.
Because they put the conditions in the Calgary trade to where they could keep this one and send Calgary the 2025 one.
So, we're all lamenting Vegas and how are they able to do this, and are they going to get investigated? And I think we're ignoring there is the funniest situation possible that is still possible. Mm-hmm. They missed the playoffs. It's possible.
You think so?
It's unlikely. But imagine they load up like this.
I mean,
And they don't make it. They might not. They're playing very poorly because of all these injuries. So they're not like, we're going to catch the league with their pants down. No, like these guys are hurt. I believe them when they say these guys are hurt. I will not be in the least bit shocked if Mark Stone's spleen hasn't magically healed itself and regenerated by 6 weeks from now. It's entirely possible.
Oh, he's coming
misses
back.
Game one.
He's
coming back, but might not be when you think.
yeah.
All right.
Well, so we got that going on. One of the trades we didn't do a video on, but broke later on was Vitek Vanacek is now no longer a New Jersey Devil. They acquired Jake Allen. They got him at 50% retained from the Montreal Canadiens for a third rounder, I believe. There was a lot of trades today, so if I'm wrong on that, I apologize.
Third rounder.
And then here's what's crazy. It's also come out that Jake Allen has waived his no trade clause to go there. That was on his list of the teams not to go to, and Tom Fitzgerald was able to get him to waive. And then Kaapo Kähkönen and Vitek Vanacek have been swapped for each other, which means New Jersey has moved out their entire goaltending tandem. We have
To
seen-
the Sharks.
To the Sharks.
The Mackenzie Blackwood and Vitek Vanacek, who I believe both lost their jobs to Akira Schmid, are now reunited.
And Akira Schmid is back in the minors as of today.
That tandem was so bad that the Sharks, who are rebuilding and actively trying to finish last, are like, we need both of them.
Yeah.
And they got them. Dude, it's the Sharks are getting rid of everything but the floorboards, basically.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's going to be a long rebuild for San Jose. Like the fact that they are, first off, I don't know if there's another team other than Los Angeles that is retaining on a player that long, and I don't even think Mike Richards' contract counts as a retention retention against LA.
He was bought out.
He was bought out, but it was a bizarre buyout.
Yeah.
And they're paying him until 2031, but it's for some reason they skirted league rules and no one ever talks about it.
Crap.
Yeah. So here they're retaining on Erik Karlsson, which is like $1 million something a year, right? $1.5 million, I think. And then they are retaining 17% on Hurdle, which is about the same. I think he was making 8.01 or something, some weird number. So they're doing like 1.26 or something like that. Still, you kind of look at it and you go, weird numbers, but it doesn't matter if you're San Jose.
We forgot, or not forgot. Darren Dreger posted the tweet for the trade very confusingly.
Yes, he made it seem like the 2/3 that Vegas got were going from Vegas to San Jose.
So what Vegas did is they traded, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, a first-round pick and a guy who they just picked in the first round. Or no, I think I'm
just the guy they picked in the first round.
It's Hurdle and a dude who they just picked 32nd overall.
Yeah.
For 2/3. I mean, that's real tidy, man. That's real tidy.
No, they sent it's a first round pick and the guy and David Edstrom.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, the way that the tweet was originally worded, which is hilarious. It's a hilarious story.
Yeah.
Darren Dreger
You don't have to look. I'm literally looking.
Darren Dreger had the.
I'm gonna look.
Do you want to see?
No, I'm gonna no.
Darren Dreger had the tweet, but what was hilarious about it is it looks like he probably copied and pasted it from a Vegas executive.
He just copied and pasted the list of assets, so you weren't really clear. And Thomas Hurdle was at the top,
And the word "our."
so and the word "our," which is bad. But then everything below it looked like it was going the other way to Vegas. But it is a first in 2025 from Vegas, plus David Edstrom going to San Jose for 2/3 and Hurdle back to Vegas.
That's crazy.
I'm kidding.
Crazy. You know, it's very interesting, and everything is always about the Leafs, but when you compare and contrast to like Vegas's desperation, you look at how the Leafs are viewed this year, and it's like, well, they're just, I don't know if this team has it, and then they go on a run. You're like, maybe they do, but we don't want to be too desperate this year. We wouldn't want to give up that first round pick. And Vegas, who has absolutely underperformed, especially lately, is like, no, we're not doing this. We're going to go get freaking everybody, and we don't care. And I think that part of it, and I understand that Vegas won a cup before this, but I think that's what makes Vegas so special, is they operate very differently from every front office in this league. And I'm so glad they're here, because before them, there was no chaos. Imagine this deadline without Vegas. Hannafin is likely still a Flame. Hurdle is still likely a San Jose Shark. Anthony Mantha, who knows? But you know what I'm talking about? Like, without the Vegas Golden Knights, we don't get this kind of chaos.
Here, Adam. Oh, I want to do an exercise. You and I were both in drama together in high school.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna be the Vegas Golden Knights, and you be the rest of the league. So talk about what your goals are.
Win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, no. Like who you're looking to acquire and stuff like that.
Is there a good player available? A great player available? Whoever the best player available is, I want him and the next best player. And probably the next best player after that.
Time's up. Let's do this. Leroy Jenkins. That's the Vegas Golden Knights. That is them. This deadline.
Other teams form committees. Vegas just acts. It's crazy. And what I mean by that is, like, there seems to be like, well, have we talked about this enough? Have we hummed about this enough? Vegas is like, is that a good player? Cool. He should be a Knight. Let's go.
Yeah, one thing that's interesting about how they operate is the belief in the roster players that they had, and that if they add to them, they will be successful. You know, it's not that, hey, we're worried about if we're good enough to add this piece at this moment. You know, with the Leaf situation, it's like if they went out and they did a Thomas Hurdle deal or something like that, there'd be pushback from people in the media or maybe even people within the organization. Like, dude, is this what we need? Are we ready? But with Vegas, there's just a belief that if we just keep adding good players around the players we know we have a good team already, so we're going to be successful. And these other teams, I don't know if they're scared or if there's just a little, you're unsure to make the big move, but there's just a blind belief that we're going to do this. We're going to win. And nobody nobody else really operates that way. And I wish the Leafs had that.
Also, like, I think they learned a very valuable lesson in their first year. No half measures. They spent a first, a second, a third, which is fine. You can spend a first, a second, a third. What are you getting? You getting a bona fide first line player? Oh, you got Thomas Tatar. Oh, no, he's not bad. It's just, he's Thomas Tatar. So Vegas going forward was like, all right, we're not scared to spend those picks. We're still going to do it. We're just going to make sure it's Leroy Jenkins.
It's Jack Eichel.
It's Jack Eichel.
Yeah.
It's Anthony Mantha is probably closer to Thomas Tatar, but they didn't give up a king's ransom for him.
Right.
Thomas Hertl, Noah Hannafin. Like, they're going out and getting marquee names. I'm probably forgetting some, man.
Yeah, guys they've acquired in trade, include Aiden Hill was a trade. If you go up the list, Shea Theodore was a trade. Noah Hannafin, who you mentioned, Keegan Colasar, Chandler Stevenson, Anthony Mantha, Nick Waugh, Ivan Barbashev, Jack Eichel. Like, those are all the guys acquired by trade on cap friendly for them. They're not afraid to go out and get guys because they believe in what they're going to acquire is going to lead to a Stanley Cup, and it worked once. So why not just keep hammering down on it?
And here we are as Leaf fans, and what do we always talk about when it comes to Barbashev? Would have been nice if they got him last year. Who knows? Maybe they swap places. The Leafs went out and they got Noel Acciari, who was good for them. They got Ryan O'Reilly, who was good for them. And the rumor was Barbashev could have been part of that deal too. And they went, no, too much.
I think there's also this illusion from fans and some executives that you can't just fix your mistakes. Like, if you have Marc-Andre Fleury on the roster and you're like, okay, we're done with you. We have another goalie and we want this. You can just move him. If you have a couple contracts that are too big, you can trade Riley Smith immediately after you win the Stanley Cup. If you don't want Thomas Tatar anymore, you can get rid of him. You can just fix your mistakes, and people don't act like you can.
You traded me, but I won the Vezina. And they go, welp, we got you an extra seat for it on your plane ride to Chicago.
Yep. Yeah.
So have fun with that. Yeah. See ya.
But this is
appreciate everything you've done.
There's no fear.
No,
there's no fear.
Well, it's because it comes out of pure laziness, I think. When really it's sort of like, how do I not take responsibility for this? Well, I'll tell everybody it's too hard. And for a while, people do believe it. But I think what Vegas is showing is actually, like, as I tweeted, if he wanted to, he would. It's like, as in dating, same with the trade deadline, same with free agency. If you want to win, if you want to get the guys, now I'm not saying Vegas is guaranteed a Stanley Cup, but if you want to get the guys that you want to get, it's always possible. You just have to want it. And Vegas wanted it. And when we get to Toronto, we're going to have to talk about why they didn't.
Here, what sounds better? Your team's owner, after winning a Stanley Cup, going on public media and saying, I would spend $135 million to win.
Oh, I thought it was $150 million.
Whatever it was.
Yeah.
100 billion.
Yeah.
To win. Or this. We tried to make some moves to address certain areas, but at the end of the day, a lot of the answers are going to come from the guys that are in the room.
Is this the Brad Treliving press conference?
All right, let's do the
Let's do it. It's from
Jonas. No, I'm not trying to make it about the Leafs. I'm just trying to. There's a chasm between.
We're going to the Leafs.
We're doing it. Yeah.
There's a chasm between those ideologies, which is there's no tomorrow, and I don't know.
Hey, are you a cool guy?
Man, yeah.
Yeah?
Like I'm standing in a freezer.
Actually, let's ISO Steve. Can we ISO Steve for a second? Look at that. That's a guy who needs sunglasses.
What are you talking about?
The bags under his eyes.
Oh, my God.
It used to be that Steve had bags under his eyes because he was hungover. But now he has 2 kids.
Shady Rays. Hey, are you ugly garbage? Then you need to put some of those on your face and they'll make you look cool.
Hey, Steve, maybe the sunglasses also cover up how fat you are.
No, you know what? They don't. I'll still be fat.
Oh,
really
no.
cool.
Might as well get them anyway. Shady Rays.
Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company, and there are very few of those, honestly. Independent sunglass company.
I have a pair.
World-class product, 5-star rated by over 300,000 people. They have durable frames, crystal clear optics, and guess what? If you lose them or you break them, don't sweat it. You got lost and broken protection, so you are covered from day one.
Adam, when I wear my Shady Rays at home, you know what everyone says?
What do they say?
Steve, you're friggin' hot.
I thought they say make more children.
Yeah.
Right?
And I listened.
Yeah, there you go. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use the promo code SDP for 50% off when you get 2 or more polarized sunglasses. Try yourself Shady Rays. The shades, rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. The promo code SDP for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Now, sometimes in life, you have things that become overwhelming. It could be the birth of a new child. It could be
the trade deadline.
The trade deadline
could be both in the same week. The same week. Just worked out that way. I'm doing great, though.
Oftentimes, when one thing becomes too overwhelming in your life, it can make other things seem bigger than they are, and it can bleed into other things in your life and make things tough to deal with. And what therapy does is it gets you through those things, helps with an extra set of eyes, kind of, okay, I'm going to organize the issues that I have. I hadn't thought of things that way. And the great thing is when you do have a great therapist, you really do make progress very quickly. You do feel better. You do feel like you're making progress forward. And BetterHelp's great because they match you with a therapist within 48 hours of you signing up. You can do it. You could talk to them over text. You could talk to them on like Zoom, FaceTime, whatever. Any way that you want to communicate, whatever you're comfortable with, it's great. And here's the thing. Because you're doing it digitally, it's actually a lot cheaper than traditional therapy too, which is kind of awesome. So if you would like to sign up for BetterHelp and give your head a little bit of a break, learn what makes you happy, visit betterhelp.com/STP today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/STP. Flames fans are laughing right now because this is every trade deadline for them, time in memoriam. And I want to say that I think that I'm really disappointed with Brad Treliving's trade deadline, although it tracks with how his other trade deadlines have done. And it's not to say that the moves that he got weren't useful. I think Lyubushkin and Riley have looked good together. I'm interested to see where Joel Edmondson slots into the lineup tomorrow night. But I think it'll be for Timothy Liljegren because I think they're just about done with him. And we didn't talk about the Boss game last night because we haven't had time. But I think they're just about done there. They want bigger, scarier guys. I get it. And then they need to address their penalty kill, which is 21st in the league right now. Not good enough. And I know penalties go away in the playoffs, but they are important when they do happen.
Here, can I just stare down the barrel of the camera and fix something?
Sure. Connor Dewar.
Not Dewar.
I don't know what you guys were doing in that video.
I was being tired.
Everybody was in the room and nobody said a word.
That's true.
Okay.
Judas. Traitor.
I know. Brad Treliving on Connor Dewar, a real defensively responsible center. I don't think you can have too many centers. He's a proficient on the PK, an area we wanted to help ourselves with. He gives us more depth up the middle. He's a competitive player.
Do you think you have too many making 2.5 there, Brett?
Brad Treliving on the Leafs defense. It's going to continue to be a work in progress. Excited to get Joel. He's big, rangy D-man. He adds length, physicality, experience. Adding him and Lyubushkin, we've added some size and bite, and now we will get to do it by committee. That has been done before.
Yeah.
I'm saying the Pittsburgh Penguins, their run to the finals those 2 years, that was a committee defense. Ron Hainsey on the top pair. That's why the Leafs paid for him.
It is surreal.
And then obviously, and then I just want to do one quick thing. Matthew Nyes will be back tomorrow.
Good.
Brad Treliving said I would categorize this day as business as usual. And as far as not trading the first round pick, he said, I didn't feel like it was something that made sense for us in the very short term. So it's good to have that asset here. And then, of course, somebody asked about Easton Cowan. He said he's a heck of a player and there was no thought of moving Easton.
Good.
Easton Cowan might be Kyle Dubas's parting gift to the Leafs because had he not traded Rasmus Sandin, we wouldn't have had that pick.
What about Fraser Minton?
Oh, Fraser Minton too.
Why not trade him?
In the Mrazek.
Well,
okay.
So we do need to talk about that.
Why not move something for anything?
You know what? It almost makes up for Trevor Moore, Zach Hyman, Michael Amadio, Alex Barabanov. I was about to say Ilya Mikheyev, but I'm not going to say Ilya Mikheyev. Nazem Kadri. What else? What am I missing? What am I missing?
Where are you going?
Part of gift my ass.
Where's this one going?
Where it's going is he didn't actually do
Dubas.
all that
you're
good.
talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With Brad, I wanted to see the Leafs go hard this trade deadline. I don't know what deal I think they should have done, but I would have liked them to get back some sort of bona fide asset. Like, I feel like every year you got a goal scorer scoring 70 goals in a regular season.
Is it 54?
You have an unbelievable generational talent. People are upset with people throwing around that term right now.
Generational.
But he is. It's an unbelievable run Austin Matthews is on, and I think you owe it I don't know if you owe it to the squad, but I think your perception of this team should be every year needs to be a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Like, this is your window. Who knows when you become the San Jose Sharks?
You know what makes me mad?
Where you keep knocking on the door for a decade and you're a really good team, and then eventually everybody's old and you don't do it anymore.
Yes.
Who knows when that comes to pass and you don't have your cup ring, so you better go out and get one while you can. And to have this return when you have assets to go get more is disappointing for me as a Leaf fan.
You know what makes me mad? When
What?
you said try to win a Stanley Cup and the amount of people listening to the show who just laughed. Like, I want it to even be imaginable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I found it interesting that Leaf fans, first off, there's a couple of things that came up in Leafs Twitter over the last few days. The first one was the Colton Parayko stuff, which we'll get to.
It was made up.
The second
Made
thing,
up.
the second,
That's beginning, middle, and end of it, isn't it?
yeah, Colton Parayko. If you were expecting Colton Parayko, at no point from what we have heard did the Leafs in St. Louis ever even talk.
It was a made up Twitter thing by Twitter accounts
Yeah,
that
they
were
just
unverified.
They just decided this is what we want, and that's fair. The fans should tell you what you want. That's great. But I'm telling you, there is no basis in fact on this. There was never a discussion. The Leafs have not even considered this player.
I heard Adams in line to buy the Blue Jays.
I am.
Yep.
I am. That's why I actually signed Joey Votto today. It was
was
me.
you?
It was
That
me.
was a great
I said
job.
I need a man with a bigger head than me. And look at me. I won. I get it. Billionaire. Always thinking. Now,
Go out and get James Van Riemsdyk.
what did I want to talk about other than
You said number two. There's two things.
There was the Colton Parayko thing.
Yeah.
It was important.
What?
And you
No,
guys
probably
took me
not.
off.
I bet not.
You guys took me off track, and now I can't get
You
back.
went to the Parayko thing, which is crazy.
I wanted to not go to the Parayko. What is it, Maddie? Oh,
Because Steve brought up how ridiculous it was to talk about the Leafs winning the cup.
well, so it's not quite that, but you want to say something?
Well, the other one with Edmondson is it's surreal to me that everyone in 2021 was like, but he stinks and he sucks. And here, look at this chart.
Yeah.
The charts, they make sense. They do. I understand it. I understand what they mean. But he stinks and he sucks. And look at this. And then he cross-checked his way for over 20 games to the Stanley Cup final.
Ben Sherratt.
And he did
Same
the
thing.
same thing. Beat the dog shit out of people. And then we get to today and everyone's like, but look, he stinks, he sucks. He can't do it. And it's like, how many times do I have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Yeah,
And
also he won the cup with St. Louis.
St. Louis!
And he went to the finals with Montreal.
Yes!
It's a good player.
What the hell?
Well, good player for what he does. And I think the Leafs didn't have any of that. Here's the thing. We've tried. I understand what Brad's doing. We tried the small defense. Didn't work out great. Not in our division. Maybe
Here.
if we'd been in a more finesse division, that would have been great.
let him get a word out.
No. Fuck him.
Here, let me take over. It is my show after all. The Adam Wild Podcast.
Your turn.
No, it's okay.
No, here. Adam, hand me some regular season stats.
Oh my god.
Hand them to me.
Joel, here.
Oh, thanks.
Joel Edmonds. But that's my chart.
Oh.
I have a model. I worked for years on that model.
Here. Can I get a...
Here, have a look at my model.
Thanks for that. Fucking...
Oh, Jesse caught it though. He's gonna save it for me.
Oh, here. Do you have one more? I need one more.
Okay,
Actually,
yeah.
I
I've
need
got-
you to
here's-
do this as a favor to me.
Here's my chart for Lyubushkin.
Oh, okay.
And how he
Here.
sucks.
Really appreciate
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Jesse, you might not want to catch that one.
All right, now.
right
Yeah.
by
So, by the way, Lyubushkin doesn't suck. I just was. Yeah.
Like, listen, there's validity to it. I'm just saying it doesn't apply in the playoffs.
Adam, listen.
The other
If there's
thing.
validity to it, I don't know.
The other
Just
thing that was
playoff
made
Here,
up.
wait.
Wait,
beef.
no. So, Jesse, I want to get your thoughts on.
The other thing that is completely made up, and this is Leaf fans.
Answer Maddie.
No, Maddie.
Maddie,
Maddie, break it. What do you need to say?
It's International Women's Day. Go ahead.
Maddie, I yield.
Go ahead. I'm a feminist.
I
Go
yield
ahead.
the floor.
No, I was just planning on the bit. I just want to cut him off.
Maddie, if you're coming in on the bit, you gotta have some.
Yeah.
You gotta drop some knowledge bomb on us here.
I don't have anything.
Did you enjoy your first trade deadline? That's what I need to.
I did. It was a lot of fun, honestly. Like it was like there was pockets of like nothing, and then all of a sudden like 3 trades come in, and you're like, oh my god, I have to record a bunch of.
Did you like the
stuff in
candy?
30 minutes, huh?
The candy? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
I'm trying to stay away from that a little bit, but the chocolate pretzels though, those are deadly.
They're deadly.
Yeah,
They're
the
deadly.
wings are really good though.
A wing.
Jesse
yeah.
ordered us pizza and wings.
Yeah, pizza and wings.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Jesse.
Yeah.
So here's what I want to say. All right, can I freaking say this?
The floor is yours. You're a girl dad, International Women's
Thank you. I want to say this. There is something that every fan base does every year.
Buy tickets to games.
Yes.
Cheer.
But beyond that,
Where
when
do
you're
you-
a hardcore fan and you make an account and your account says Leafs in it,
yeah.
like or your account
Leafs
says
fan for 2069.
yeah, or you're a Lightning fan, you're a Montreal Canadiens fan. I'm a Coyotes fan. I've based my life on this team.
a woo 150.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Here's what I want to say. We fall in love. We fall in love with our own prospects. We fall in love with our own prospects. Am I talking about Easton Cowan? Absolutely not. That player seems like a legitimate, holy smokes, we got to have a look at him. He's probably going to play at least 9 games next season.
You better have at least 20 minutes blocked off so I can lament Dmitry Ovchynnikov.
I want to talk about Fraser Minton.
Okay.
I want to talk about the captain of the World Juniors team for Canada this year.
And the Kamloops Blazers.
I want to talk about the guy that was living, he's captain of the Kamloops Blazers, living in Tavares' basement. Tavares' kids called him for his birthday. Oh my God, this kid made an impression. And by the way, there's a very good chance that Fraser Minton is at the top of his trade value right now. Right now, and for the rest of his career, this might be the most he's worth. And it's not because Fraser Minton is a bad hockey player. It's because Fraser Minton
is an awful hockey player.
tops out as a third line center max in 3 to 4 years. And my problem sometimes is people look at that and they go, we cannot let that go. As you saw today, third line centers at trade deadline go for a 4th or a 5th round pick. But hope is eternal. And I think if the Leafs had done a better job of selling people on a young prospect, they probably could have got a better deal done. If you ask and you look around, you ask people that truly watch these prospects, and I did. That's why I'm coming to you with this. I didn't get this from my own analysis. I asked the people that do this for a living. And what they told me was, listen, this is a good player. If he makes the show, he might be a 3rd or a 4th line guy. This is the player that I was looking for them to go get creative and go, okay, we're going to make a big move. It's the first, it's Minton, and we're going and getting a big move done. And I think that they really missed the boat with that because again, he's the captain of T Canada. Oh, that's an easy sell to a general manager. Captain of his own team. Oh, that's an easy sell to the general manager. John Tavares has so many good things to say. Oh, what a great, high character guy. This was the time, I think, to sell on Fraser Minton. And maybe the draft is another time. I don't know. Here I am torpedoing his value on my show.
You know what the draft is? The draft is after another run at the Stanley Cup, which is a little too late.
Agreed. And this is the thing. Marner, Matthews, Nylander. We think of them as young forever. They're not. Nylander's 28.
Shut the front door.
Matthews is 26. Still good. Still good. Look, there's plenty of years of prime left.
How good?
Very good.
Okay.
Might be 70 goals good. But my point is, this is the time where you empty that cupboard. People are like, oh, their cupboard's so empty. Matt Dumba moved for a pick swap, guys. You telling me the Leafs wouldn't be better today if they threw a 4th round pick for Matt Dumba? It's what it cost to get Dewar.
I wonder if being willing to move off of Fraser Minton could have gotten you Rasmus Anderson. If being willing to throw in a 1st round pick,
If
Fraser
Gushnikov got Tanev,
If you can get that, that's something that sets you up now in the future. $4.5 million, 27-year-old right-handed defenseman. If you're just willing to sell on a really good prospect like that, that's something Calgary looks at and they say, oh, look, we got this thing. That's shiny. That's nice. We can sell that to our franchise. Is that somebody you want to go after as a big splash to put you in the position to win the Stanley Cup?
What do you cure? Symptoms or an illness?
Well, you ideally cure an illness. You treat symptoms.
I'm not a doctor. This is too difficult for me.
The reason I bring that up is part of the reason the Leafs were a little gun shy to spend all these assets this year is because of all the assets they spent last year. What was part of the reason that they spent so many damn assets last year?
Because Kyle Dubas was making a power play for the president's job, and he was trying to win the Stanley Cup. And if he had, he knew he was doing this, by the way.
I go with the first one. He's trying to win the Cup every year.
He's trying to win the Cup. And the reason he spent is he knew, if I'm making this play, which he knew he was going to make, I better win the Cup. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
They let him go into the trade deadline a desperate man. And I don't lament too many of the moves he made. Jake McCabe, that's a good deal.
Nola was great.
Loved it. Ryan O'Reilly was great.
Ryan O'Reilly?
Yeah.
Wait, what is
Nola Chari.
Oh, Nola Chari. I
Loved
thought you
Nola
said
Chari.
Matt Murray. I'm like, well,
No. Nola Chari.
you know, they're not all going to be
Chari, McCabe, O'Reilly. It was a good little trio.
good little
haul.
trio. Sam
Lafferty.
you know, like, but they let him go in a desperate man, and it's very obvious that the organization, and I yelled and screamed about this at the time, was 5 weeks out from the draft, completely, utterly standing on the edge of a cliff, pissing into the wind, making it up, pissing into the wind. And now the new guy comes in and he's like, okay, what do I have in terms of futures? Fuck all. Okay, that's good. And what do I have in terms of
Cap space.
Cap space. Okay, fuck all.
And can I
That's
move
good.
anybody on
And
this cap?
who's the number one guy I should trade? This
No, can't move him.
seismic player. Okay,
Can't move him.
I have how long until his no move clause kicks in?
3
Okay,
weeks.
So dick all.
Two guys.
How long is the coach signed for? By the way, he's not okay.
You got two
they're-
contracts you got to sign.
Yeah, dude. Like they, I don't think he did. I don't think he's done a great job. But boy, he was not set up for success.
So let's throw this at you, okay? Kelly McCrimmon, who is the general manager of the Vegas Golden Knights, did a press availability 5 minutes ago. He was asked, why do the Vegas Golden Knights make more big deals than other teams? What do you think his answer was? It was 2 words.
Big balls.
That would be a good one.
Am I right?
Cup balls.
We pay.
Oh.
We pay.
We
Like
pay.
they're willing to pay the
They're
price.
willing to pay the price.
Yeah.
The Leafs were not willing to pay the price. Now, I don't hate what they've done. I don't hate the Edmondson deal. I think Lyubushkin has seen early returns, which are positive. Good. You got a zippy little mosquito center to take care of the penalty kill. That's great. And listen, I want the Leafs and believe that they can get through Boston in the first round. I do think that they can. I'm just saying that when I look around the league at teams that are doing far worse than the Leafs, the Vegas Golden Knights are one of them. Look what they did about it. They took action.
And avoided, like we talked about with Vegas in their first year, half measures.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't want to trade our first round pick. Hey, man, can I borrow a third, another third, a fourth, a prospect, a fifth, and a sixth for 2 pretty much bottom pair D and a fourth line kid you never heard of? I can? Okay, great. Thanks. Oh, also Lageson's on waivers. He's fucked off to the Ducks. Anyway, have a happy trade deadline.
Now, I know Matt Dumba in certain circles is overrated. In other circles, underrated. I would say Matt Dumba is a good-ish defenseman who isn't great at defending and has some real glaring issues in his game.
Who would he have replaced?
But who would he replace? But like, just let me throw this at you. Ilya Lyubushkin costs more because of the retention.
Lots more.
Joel Edmondson cost more.
2 picks each.
Now, retention has to play a part in that, but I'm just saying it's still there. We have to look at that.
They paid 2 assets each for Edmondson, Lyubushkin, and Dewar. It's a shitload, considering it's a buyer's market.
Oh yeah,
Wasn't really for them.
He overpaid like crazy, considering what he could have got today. Like what he paid to get those deals done, 4 days earlier was an overpay.
I am telling you.
In a vacuum, I don't hate any of those moves.
No,
I am telling you that the Leafs better get through to the second or the third round this year. And as I said before, I stand behind this. The Shanahan plan is flawed anyway. Every plan is flawed, but it's over.
Say it into the mic. What you said.
I said, what year is it? Oh, they better.
No, but you know,
but they
but
better.
You knew in years past that there was never going to be a change at the top. This is the first year where I think this president is on shaky ground. I genuinely believe it. I'm feeling it. There are things out there. I'm feeling it. This guy is not secure anymore because the new guy coming in to take over Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment isn't from the airplane industry. He's from the Bell and Rogers industry. He headed up TSN, and then he was like, you know what? I'm going to get the big rights package and bring it to Sportsnet. And he did that. This guy is not about the Leafs not being extremely successful and bold every year. I'm telling you guys, this sort of stuff, and I feel bad for Brad Treliving because I think he stepped into a storm here. Mm-hmm. And I think that whatever moves he wanted to make, Shanny is always a part of these discussions. The invisible hand of Brendan Shanahan is obvious. Go watch the Amazon documentary where he's in the room when Kyle Dubas is making the Nick Foligno trade.
Mm-hmm. But can you see why when we hear that, we're be like, okay, but that's every year, you know?
100%.
Because that's how it's been this entire regime. It's, there's something's got to give, and it never gives. Even when Babcock's job was on the line, the playoffs before he got fired eventually come December or January.
Half measure
Do you
again.
remember we sat there on locker cleanout day and we're like, that's it. It's over. This is the year. And they didn't even do shit.
And CJ comes in here on still one of the best shows we've ever done.
Oh yeah.
Locker Cleanup 2019. Well, they won a tight game 5. And I looked him dead in his face with nothing but hatred in my heart. Mm-hmm. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That's their logic?
Yeah. So Adam, you can come here with with a notarized note from the CEO of Keith Pelly. You can come here and say, if this doesn't happen, these people are fired. And until it happens, I don't think any Leaf fan is going to believe it because we've consistently been served the same thing over and over again.
And they're right to not believe it.
Yeah.
I understand that. I'm going to keep saying it though, because I believe it.
Here.
And I don't believe it for no reason.
Sorry.
No,
I'm not sharp.
Oh no, go ahead.
I'm not sharp.
Do your thing.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You got. I was done.
Sorry, I'm not.
No, it's good.
It's okay. Go ahead.
That was perfect timing.
So, it always is. What are you talking about? So we're looking forward. We're looking forward to the end of the season, whenever that is. Could be after they win the cup and we look like silly geese, and that's cool. You can laugh at me at the parade. With it going the same way over and over again, I've got some clarity.
Okay.
I've got some clarity and a new way of looking at things. You know what I'm most excited to talk about?
Tell me.
Tomorrow night's game.
What is tomorrow night's game? Who are they playing, Steve?
You know what's funny? I don't know.
Wow. You know what? I'll look that up for you right now because I don't either.
I'm excited for tomorrow night's game because I'm going to get to watch them.
Do you want an original 6 matchup against the Montreal Canadiens on a Saturday night?
Let's go. The return of Joel Edmondson. Let's go.
Matt, now you got to cross-check the other team, Joel.
Yeah. And they're all new. You don't even know those guys.
Yeah.
Just beat them up.
Exactly.
I can do this. It's my job. But there's time left in the regular season. There's a player who is probably going to score 60 goals in short order. May just get to 70.
There's exciting things happening. I'm just disappointed that guy didn't get more.
Mm-hmm. No.
Matthews deserves more from this.
I agree.
This is a good team. You saw Bertuzzi last night get punched in the face and bloody, and he like, it was crazy when Bertuzzi gets into a fight and then uppercuts a guy in the NHL this era.
Dude, I had to do a one taker last night because of how early we had to get up. Tyler Bertuzzi grabbed that man, politely asked him to drop his gloves, waited for him to drop his gloves, and then he cocked back and went Hadouken, and he nailed that guy. He nailed that guy into a contract extension.
He sure did. Witherspoon got a contract extension for a year today.
Bertuzzi beat the wheels off that young man. Oh my God. And
Domi went right at Marchand later in the game.
Are you guys happy that,
love that.
the Leafs got smoked, but they fought guys?
It was all I wanted. It was all I wanted. Like, I was complaining after the first period. I was like, please care, and people got mad at me.
Mike Johnson got mad at you, actually.
Yes, he did. And then all his colleagues indirectly agreed. And then the Leafs...
Like with you. They agreed with you.
They agreed with me. And then the Leafs showed up for the beginning of the second period, like we agree with Steve, and started to play.
What was crazy?
Like a team that cared.
What was funny about that is he said it was naive of you to suggest that they don't care. They maybe don't play they're not playing the way you want them to. Mm-hmm. And I was gonna respond to him, but I didn't feel like it was fair in that thing because I don't want to start Twitter beefs or whatever. Mike's a brilliant analyst and a nice guy and all those things.
Great at what he does.
But what I would say is, are you happy with the way they're playing? Like, I think that's what bothered me is that it was like, okay, but everybody knows there's Leafs are Jekyll and Hyde. We've seen this for years.
Okay, they care. They care. Great. When they win, they're happy. When they lose, they're sad. You're telling me they care more than the Bruins? Stop. Let's have an honest conversation. Are you kidding? You kidding?
Now, they got the flu, second half of back-to-back. Here's what I think about that.
What about Monday? What about Monday?
Exactly. What about the last 7 losses in a row to the Bruins?
Yep.
Seems like one team cares. They're matched talent.
I'm a lot less like... I don't think the fighting makes up for the losing.
I agree.
But
it makes me feel better about it.
It's better than just losing and then going home and going, we turn the other cheek.
I didn't get mad until Nyes got hurt. Nyes got hurt and they didn't do anything. I was like, are you fucking...
I understand.
They did.
I understand, Jesse. I completely agree with you. Not just understand, I agree with you. It doesn't make up. But the Leafs of old would be, it was the second half of a back-to-back. There's a flu. And, it just didn't go our way tonight. What the new Leafs, it's not the old Leafs that have been around forever that are doing this. The new guys are on one-year contracts, are getting in there and going, no, fuck this. Fine, you're going to beat us tonight, but we are not going to sit down on this.
No, Bertuzzi went from dude chuckling on the bench to setting up plays, scoring goals, winning fights, blocking shots with his fotch. Like he's just a dream player. Like the exact. We always talk about like how Toronto Leafs fans are actually like they want a blue collar team. Mm-hmm. Bertuzzi's exactly what this fan base wants. A lot of them, maybe not you, not necessarily. We're all different. There's a lot of Leaf fans, but I think a lot of Leaf fans resonate, or this guy resonates with a lot of Leaf fans.
I think good habits will result in good results. So
Yep.
I hope that these habits of trying to fight back and stand up for your teammates and all that stuff, and Bertuzzi going from laughing on the bench to fighting guys on the ice is good. And I hope that they continue to do this stuff and we also see the results. Because if it's just this, where you're just a team that loses but then doesn't allow the other team to also beat the shit out of you and you fight back, that's great. But you also need the winning on top of that. And I just hope that they have both eventually. And I'm not going to be happy until they fight back and also win the game.
Experience basketball and experience hockey like never before with BetMGM, authorized gaming partner of the NBA and also the official sportsbook in the NHL. How about that?
I got a buddy, and he's just been hammering most goals to happen in the second period. So you can bet on BetMGM in a game. You can say which period will have the most goals, and he's been hammering the most goals in that game will happen within the second period, and like I don't know, 4 of the last 4 Leafs games, it's just worked out like that, and he's just been winning.
What?
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that.
It's like, but there's so many like unique props like that you can take about the games and stipulations. You just found that one. It's just hit the last couple times.
Well, the great thing about BetMGM is it's got state-of-the-art live tracking technology. Dozens of selections like that one await you with BetMGM Sportsbook. Tap into every game on your mobile device. Get up off the sidelines and drive to the net.
Ooh.
You see?
Well, that's sports lingo. Good for you.
It's what makes BetMGM the king of sportsbooks, Steve Dangle. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 19 years of age or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you have a question or a concern about your gambling or someone close to you, please contact Connects Ontario 1-866-531-2600 to speak to an advisor free of charge. Hey, Steve, how's your sleep?
It's poor.
And you're tired because it's been a heck of a trade deadline day.
Sure has.
Now, here's the thing. Steve doesn't struggle with sleep right now because he doesn't get any. He's got a daughter, and he's a girl dad. And when you're a new parent, you don't sleep much.
Not really.
No. But if you need to get to sleep quickly, or you're one of those people that finds themselves thinking about the entire day's event and doom scrolling in your mind every single evening, we want you to try Sleep Breakthrough. We tried it. We love it. It's great for, all the things that sleep's great for. Rejuvenation, fat burning, muscle building. Look at Steve. See? My ad reads are so good, it worked on him without even him having it right now. But I will say we highly recommend the formula because it's natural. You're not going to have the dependency on Sleep Breakthrough the way that you would have on other products. Right, Jesse?
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
Promo code Dangle. Are we at that part?
No, not yet. Well, here's the thing.
Sorry.
We highly recommend Sleep Breakthrough. It's a game changer, Steve. It's buyoptimizers.com/dangle, and the promo code is
Dangle. Dangle.
Save 10% at checkout.
Tying in to last night's game and the trade deadline, I'm pretty surprised Timothy Liljegren's still a Leaf.
Yeah, you were so done with Liljegren on yesterday, and you're like, I'm going to wake up Friday afternoon, and he's no longer going to be a Toronto Maple Leaf.
He laid probably the hardest hit he's ever laid as a Leaf before getting murdered 10 seconds, maybe less, later by the guy who did it. And just drowning in front of his own net. Drowning. And you're telling me it's the same conversation we had at the beginning of the season. Carbon copy. When everyone's healthy and everyone's arrived and have their equipment, he won't be in this lineup. He will not be. There might be some games where him and LaBouche can swap. He won't be in this lineup. Riley Bouche, Benoit McCabe, Brody Edmondson.
It's the yearly tradition of you play the year with Liljegren, he gets in a lot of the games, and then come the playoffs, he's squeezed out.
Frankly,
Flopping with Justin Hall.
he had a good run. But you said this at the beginning of the year, and people have subtweeted about it and thrown their charts up about it, whatever.
It's okay.
Of course, because that's what makes this fun. The disagreements are the best part.
I don't take it personally.
I think the question, Steve, is what did you say at the beginning of the year?
Is he close? Well, I think what I said is he closer to a top 4 defenseman in the NHL or waiver fodder?
And how would you say that's been lately?
Honestly, if you had asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said top 4.
Because he had played pretty well in that period.
The run before he got injured.
Most of the season, he was closer to waiver fodder. Riley got suspended, and he's like, oh, I'm really good now. And, boy, turned into a pumpkin. Just right back to it. And, he was talking about, I believe he said in interviews, I haven't been the same since the injury.
Then you probably should sit for a bit, and maybe he's not fully healthy.
Maybe having to fight through some defensive depth will be good for him. Who knows? Maybe he's closer to that top 4 guy we saw with Brody, and that emerges in the playoffs. But right now, he is completely drowning in front of his own net, just getting bullied and toyed with, and the boss gets bigger.
Something I've also noticed with him is nothing makes him mad in a bad way. So
Freddie Goat.
Yeah, so it's
Ready,
like
go.
so listen, I understand like people got mad at Jake McCabe last night for the double cross check to the neck and face of the two Bruins players.
Who?
People on Twitter. I was shocked by that. I'm like, no. This is who was it? It
You
was
catch the number on the back?
it was Marchand, and he was fined for it today. You do that every time. You have to go at Marchand. You have to. He's their best player. You have to do that. Well, Pasternak, but he's an extremely effective player, especially against the Leafs. Then you got a guy like Liljegren who will never physically respond ever. And I
He's
just
not
wonder.
small.
He's not small. He's not. And we talked about this over the last few years with guys like Justin Hall, with guys like Freddie the Goat, big for nothing.
Big for nothing. But do you remember what I said about Freddie to go?
What did you say?
So there's a salary cap on players. There's no salary cap on executives. There's no salary cap on coaching. And you can also just give people a job and make it up. And I think one of the most valuable hires the Leafs could have made over the last few years that they didn't make is hire someone to follow Freddie Gauthier around and just fuck with him. Is he wearing a white shirt or white shoes? Mustard. Is he trying on shoes at a store, or he's got to put on boots to get Legos?
You got to drive somewhere, air's out of the tires.
Yeah,
Just make him make him
not even
angry.
airs out of the tire. Like, I'm talking not crime. I'm just talking.
No, I just said let the air out. I didn't say stab the tire. I just let it air.
I'm saying, like, find out the Chipotle that he goes to all the time and plant an MLSE employee to work behind the counter and fuck up his burrito every single time. Just make the guy mad. There was a fight against the Montreal Canadiens where you were just like, Frederick, where did that come from? My goodness. And the rest of the time, he was just some big dude who walked around with a funny hat.
So
Is it wrong to have the expectation that every player is going to be that guy? Like, because
I don't think everybody. I don't think that's what we're saying.
okay, because
I think what we're
he just
saying
might
is-
not be that guy.
No, but like,
I think you have to
who
have to
has more
respond.
success in this league? That guy or the player I just mentioned who's big for nothing?
Right, but like you have, if you go to the Florida Panthers, you have Kachuk, Nick Cousins, and Sam Bennett, so Barkov can exist and do whatever he wants. And,
Big for something.
And can just not get in those scrums. He doesn't have to be physical at all.
Here's the problem for Timothy
you need to be
Liljegren,
as
and this is what
skilled
it
as-
comes back to.
You need to be as skilled as Barkov for that to matter.
Here's the problem with Timothy Liljegren, and this is what it comes back to. It's if you're gonna screw up defensive plays that you should know by now, 24, right? Then you're gonna have to bring something else too, right? He is a finesse defenseman. That's what he was drafted for.
He can do some things.
He can really do some things, and you saw that a little bit last night against Boston because after
Got an assist, didn't he?
yeah, there were some actual plays that he generated and developed, and that's great. My point is, I'm looking at Freddie Gauthier's stats, okay, and we're comparing and contrasting. It's not a direct comparable. Freddie Gauthier played 178 games in his NHL career so far. He's now playing in the Swiss League. How many games did he play with teams other than the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Very few. 20.
Jesse, just a guess.
30.
10. 2 with the Coyotes, 8 with Jersey. And this is a guy who was in the lineup for 70 games in 18-19 and 61 in 19-20.
He scored the first goal of the season.
My point in that is saying if Timothy Liljegren is not this crazy tough guy, which we don't necessarily need him to be, I do need you to not get rocked in front of your own net. I do need you to drop a little bit of carbon into the back of somebody once in a while and protect the area. Throw them off their game. You don't have to hurt them. You don't have to break your stick. You're not Ben Sherratt. You're not Joel Edmondson. But move somebody. Please.
I'm not even caught up in him getting rocked by Charlie Coyle behind the net. Like, I mean, it's Charlie Coyle.
Yeah.
Big fella. Hey, I'm coming to the front of the net. And
he just says, no, you're not.
And yeah, no, you're not. And they go, yes, I am. And he goes, you're right. I don't need that guy.
I need a Gandalf, you shall not pass from Timothy Liljegren.
And you shall pass between my legs because I'm puck watching and also cannot move snow off the driveway. Like, dude, it's brutal.
Timmy's in RFA at the end of this season. He needs a new contract. His qualifying offer is $1.5 million, but I assume they'll negotiate some sort of deal with him. What are you looking at for this offseason with Timmy?
A trade.
If they are keeping him, is 1.4 million, which I think he already makes, right?
Yeah, he makes that right now.
Is it 1.25? Is it 1.3? I mean, he's a right shot defenseman in the NHL who can skate and pass.
His buddy just got 4.6 in Washington. He's not getting less.
Yeah. I mean, here's what I think. I think I agree with Steve because I don't think he fits the archetype of what Treliving wants this blue line to be.
He definitely doesn't.
I think we know what Treliving wants this blue line to be, and Timothy Liljegren just isn't it.
There's two players not in the NHL that were involved in trades over the last 24 hours. One who Brad Treliving acquired, and the other who he traded away. One weighed 220 pounds. The other weighed 166. Which one do you think he traded, and which one do you think he traded for?
Tell us, Steve.
He traded the little guy. And like, listen, when Dubas came in, he was riding a wave of market inefficiency, which was no one was looking at the small guys.
Yep.
They were all ignoring them. Then there was almost like an overcorrection. And every year the playoffs would come around and it'd be like, well, no, size still matters here. And now the pendulum is swinging very aggressively the other way. At very least, it is here. But the proof is in the Stanley Cup final. It's in the playoffs. There was the Florida Panthers, who weren't necessarily the biggest team, but complete axe-wielding barbarians. And you have the Vegas Golden Knights, who were all over 6 feet tall, except for one guy.
Who won the Conn Smythe?
Who won the Conn Smythe? It's still very funny.
It's a good
one
point.
of my favorite stats of all time. It matters.
So, Jesse,
Yeah.
how would you? What I don't want to do this out of 10. I want to know. I want to talk about our feelings because as men, that's what we should talk about.
Okay.
Always do.
When you think about this trade deadline, how do you feel? How does this feel for you from a Leafs fan perspective?
Oh, for the Leafs specifically?
Yeah.
I'm disappointed they didn't do something bigger.
So you wanted something bigger.
Yeah.
Do you have an area of that you wish they'd gone bigger in? What's the specific?
Trade Fraser Minten for Rasmus Anderson.
There you go.
I mean, if that was available to
Probably wasn't. Steve, how do you feel?
In a vacuum, I don't hate any of the deals. And as a finished product, I do think they improved the team as a playoff product. The real answer is my heart rate will not increase a beat until the playoffs begin.
Okay. Are you guys excited to just start talking hockey again? No more trades after?
I really am.
Yeah.
I really, really am.
Now we got all the teams, except for poor Phil. Poor
Phil
Mr. Kessel.
Kessel not being signed.
That sucks. But now we got all the teams minus Phil Kessel. It's now just like who wins Stanley Cup. It's fun. It's
the
best time of the year.
First season since 2007, I want to say, that we were out without Phil in the NHL.
2006,
A non-Phil Kessel game.
I think.
It's a long time.
He was drafted 5th overall, and as a rookie, he missed 9 games because he had testicular cancer. That's it. Like, he missed like less than 20 games.
It's amazing.
Won the Masterton Trophy at the end of his tenure with Boston. Shoulder surgery, comes back in his first game at the Toronto Maple Leafs, gets rocked by Matthias Holland, stays in the game. And it's a good thing he stayed in that game because he would not miss a game until he was healthy scratched by Vegas last season.
Crazy.
In the playoffs.
In the playoffs.
In the playoffs,
his Iron Man streak is technically still alive.
Yeah. No, he's under. It has to be under contract.
Yeah,
Steve.
that's what I'm saying. It's alive, right?
Yes, it's alive.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah. So it's technically still alive. He only missed playoff games.
So, okay, in theory,
Yeah.
if in 3 years Phil Kessel announces, I'm having a comeback,
Yeah.
and I've been doing all sorts of vitamins, and I'm better than ever.
Yeah.
He signs a contract, comes back, the Iron Man streak continues.
Yes. Yeah.
Phooey.
It doesn't cancel out just because he's a UFA.
Okay, Here's the rule.
I think like no, it's ridiculous, but it's technically it still counts.
Here's the rule. No, that's ridiculous, but it's Phil Kessel, so it's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
As long as it's
Good.
Phil Kessel.
Glad we established.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. Do you guys have anything specifically that you're feeling passionate about? I just wanted to ask that question because we're closing in on an hour here. We've done a lot of on air today. And I just want to know if you guys are feeling like, I got to get this out.
Sneakily really liked what the Flyers have done.
Yeah. Sold and bought.
Sold and bought.
Eric Johnson's a good one.
Yeah, we were looking at the rumors heading into today, and we're like, I don't get it. Like, okay, don't deviate from the rebuild, but you're in a playoff spot. You can't just sell everything. They bought and sold. They sold more than they bought.
Okay.
Good stuff. Like what they did. Like some of the smaller ads the Rangers made. I was hoping for more there. Underratedly disappointing, the Canucks. They didn't sign Phil. Oh, we might.
They didn't do Gensel.
They didn't do Gensel. They didn't do Toffoli. Oh, we might swap Lindholm. Didn't do that.
No.
They didn't do any of the exciting stuff that we thought they might do. I know they did a lot of their work early, like with Zadorov and with Lindholm. Right now, maybe the lesson that they learned is, hey, we were in first place, and then we brought guys into the lineup while we were in first place, and it seemed to sort of screw everything up. So why don't we, because they're still good players, why don't we figure out what we got? We still have a few weeks, and then we'll head into the playoffs and hopefully win some games.
For like all the talk around the Canucks and everything, they really only did 2 deals. They did Nikita Zadorov in November is when that trade went down, and Lindholm in January 31st, to be fair.
And then tried to trade him.
Well, that's the rumor, but who knows how true that was or like what actual negotiations went on there if they took a look at the market. But they did those 2 moves, and they seemed set.
I want to know what the hell that team was who Linus Ullmark refused to get traded to. Mm-hmm. I want to know who the heck that was.
That's an interesting one.
It's because of geography. Well,
Feels like Oilers.
Here's a geography lesson. There's 2 countries in the National Hockey League, and pretty sure only one team looking for a goalie.
Yeah, there's one Canadian team right now in a playoff spot that needs a goalie, and that's the Edmonton Oilers. Like, you guys,
Pretty simple.
I don't think there's enough. We need to hunt down which team this could be.
I think
Could be the Kings.
I want to know what you guys think about Stetcher, Dumba, and the Coyotes' moves.
They
got next to nothing.
I'm so disappointed for their fans. I'm so disappointed for hockey as a product in Arizona. We were, you know what, really hard on that organization for a long time. We still are, for valid reasons that I do not back down from 1 foot, 1 centimeter, 1 millimeter. Try to win games and stop being a disgrace. That was the only feedback that we had for a long time. Try to win games, and please don't insult our intelligence by trying to tell us playing in a college rink is anything but a catastrophe.
Sorry, you're a bully, Steve.
Oh.
Why are you bullying hockey out of Arizona? Why is it your fault?
Yeah, well, the Canadian media.
You know what, Canadians, the bully Canadian media.
Steve, what do you think about Shea Weber making more than the entire Arizona Coyotes decor this season?
Like, aren't you embarrassed?
Shea Weber on IR this season is getting paid $7.8 million. Their entire decor is paid $6.5 million. Next season, currently for the 24-25 season, the Coyotes have 0 defensemen under contract.
0. Like, at what... I understand wanting to be flexible.
That's not a team.
But you're a noodle at that point.
No, you'll be there next year if you fucked up. Going to be a lot of July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th signing.
I bet Dursey gets a longer term deal. He's played well there. He has.
You know what? I bet he'll play well somewhere where they're trying to win. Like, again,
They have $5 billion in goaltenders, $10 million on defense or something like that. This is with LTIR, right? And then, or sorry,
No,
is that well?
It's six now. It's been up 6.5 on defense.
Oh, because Dumba's gone.
Yeah, their goaltend. Yeah, if you you can't count IR because on IR is Brian Little, Shea Weber, Jakub
Brian
Voracek.
Little.
These aren't real people. Like,
Yeah, they're not players.
it's a joke.
No, sorry. The point I was trying to make is we were like, please try to win hockey games. Stop trying to pretend like playing in a college rink isn't a catastrophe. And the Coyotes came into the season and they went, okay, well, we can work on the first one. We're going to try to win some hockey games. And they go out and they add some guys and we all went, oh.
And they had a good start.
And they had a good start. And Connor Ingram, that's a pretty nice tandem. Clayton Keller's a really underrated player in this league. Sean Dursey's pretty underrated. They put together some nice streaks. They weren't an easy team to play. And then they went on this losing streak. And, oh, well, that's going to happen. You know, they tried. Like, oh, all right, you lost. I was as confident in the team as you were. I thought they were going to be in the playoff picture. They hung around for a while. They lost a bunch of games. They're done. Mm-hmm. Okay? Then this trade deadline comes around and they go, here's some bullshit. Or no, not here's some bullshit. They go, here are several serviceable NHL players. Here's Troy Stetcher. Here's Matt Dumba. Here's...
Who else moved? There was somebody else.
There was someone else.
Yeah.
Oh, Jason Zucker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What did they get for those human beings? Fart, and toot.
Yeah, total today, those are the only three players they traded off their roster. They got a 5th, a 6th, and a 4th.
And they save actual... Like, the cap is not a concern for them. I don't give a shit what money the Leafs spend. And I don't think anyone cares about what the Dallas Stars or Minnesota Wild or Vegas Golden Knights or Florida Panthers spend in terms of actual dollars. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't care as a fan. It's not your money. You should care about how they manage the salary cap because that affects the team that you cheer for.
Yes.
And therefore affects the product that you watch and your enjoyment of it. So the Coyotes didn't like save cap space here. They save money. And if you're a Coyotes fan, I just want to know how that enriches your life today. It doesn't. They're right back where they were a year ago. After we showed some optimism.
With a few more bottom line picks, they got like a 4th and a 5th and a 7th. And
yeah,
like,
just read them all.
Season ticket sales dipped in Winnipeg and the friggin' commissioner showed up. The Coyotes are playing in a college rink for the second straight year, and they're trying to spread the word that it's a good thing.
And by the way, they're on that front, they're further behind than they were last year. At least we had the Tempe vote to look forward to.
Yeah.
We didn't have that. We don't have that this year. They might be able to put a bid on a piece of land sometime. Like if you're going to play in the arena, at least make it fun for the audience that's going to be there. Like for the 5,000 people that are going to show up.
I just really, dude, like we cover sports for a living. You don't think it would have been interesting to cover like a magical Cinderella run for the Arizona Coyotes?
Oh.
Where Stanley Cup playoff games were being played in an arena of less than 5,000 people. That would have been the stuff of Disney movies. And they stink, and they're not really trying to recoup assets, and they're just saving money, and nobody who's not in Coyotes ownership should give a damn. That's the beginning, middle, and end.
They saved $10.3 million in salary cap hit. I wonder how much money that is in terms of like actual cash out the door that they had to pay to those three players.
None of it's going into my pocket.
That seems like a lot of the motivation for just getting a 4th, 5th, and a 7th to move those guys.
You know what? There's lots of teams out there trying, and I'd rather talk about them.
Can I ask about this?
I mean?
Can I ask about this?
We're well past the time you want us to go, Adam.
I know. I just want to ask one more thing. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. How do you guys feel about the fact that on deadline day, and this is a real short one, these guys have made moves, but on deadline day, the New York Islanders have not made a move in 4 years?
In 4 years?
under Lou Lamoriello.
Lou Lamoriello.
They did bring in Horvat, they did bring in Engvall, they did bring in Peugeot like in February, but never on deadline day.
Lou Lamoriello loves suits, clean-shaven faces, and his brand. That dude, I mean, a lot of teams make mistakes on this day. Are they a buyer?
They're nothing.
They're not a buyer. They're not a seller. So let's sit on our hands and shave. And that's what they did today. I actually don't hate that. And also, just for meme purposes, Lou Lamoriello makes me laugh, so I enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it might be the right thing to do based
You know what
on
they
like
should've done? Sign Phil Kessel.
Yeah.
That would have been better.
Based on the prices you have to pay, just because there's pressure on deadline day, even though like today the prices were dirt cheap, it's probably the right thing to do based on the past about, hey, let's not overpay for this guy and just wait till the summer when things are a little better, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so how about this? Let's wrap it up. It's been a long day. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. And if you like it, subscribe. And if you really liked it, super subscribe.
No, that
Become a
was good.
VIP. Tell all your friends.
Super subscribe.
Super subscribe.
That's what they should call it. But
Yeah.
become an SDP VIP. Just click join on this channel or on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, and we'll give you a 7th round.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.